Hello everyone, this is my second video going over my progression from the second day of the league. I am currently now level 95 and I have done I've only done 2 stones, but I've done most of my Atlas progression. I haven't bothered with 3 or 4 stone yet, mainly because I don't think the character's really ready for that yet, since the build excels at clear speed, not really single target embossing. At least not yet. So for now, because Beach is already a tier 16 map, there's no need to push the third and fourth Voidstone yet. So because of that, I'm just farming tier 16 Beach until I have the currency to get better gear. That will make it a lot easier for me to finish the last 2 Voidstones. Okay, so the main purpose of this update video is to mainly talk about the Kinetic wand that I've crafted. This is a pretty good, decent upgrade. Expect maybe around between 20 to 30% more DPS over a Piscator's Vigil by getting yourself a rare wand. There are 2 ways that you can approach this item. One of them is to craft, and the other is to buy. I would say, depending on the market, it might be better to buy or craft it yourself. So, starting off with buying one, I have a little example of how you can search for a wand like this. In this case, I've set the critical chance at 10.5, the attack rate to 1.6. I've filtered it to a kinetic wand, and I've put about 350 elemental DPS. I've also set some filters that ensures that I will have an open prefix and it does not have crafted attack speed. The reason I'm doing this is because that means that I can, for example, buy a kinetic wand like this one that just showed it right here, which has tier 2 flat lightning damage, and it has a 16% attack speed, and there's 34 crit strike chance. All you have to do with this wand is you just buy it, and then you go to the crafting bench, and then you go and craft spell damage. Currently this one has added cold. I'm just gonna make it very clear. Spell damage is way better than the flat damage that you can craft. Alternatively, if this is too expensive, you can look for a kinetic wand with the item level filter of 82, and then you can go and set a count of, we're going to type of fractured, increased critical strike chance, or fractured local attack speed to these 2 modifiers. And I'm going to set this one to 13 and this one to 27. And what you're going to do is you're going to get literally any of these ones, go as high as a roll as you can afford and feel like getting. I'm just going to tell you that 28% is plenty. We are so close to crit cap that the difference is not going to be huge. So get what seems reasonable. In this case, I would just get the one that is like 29% here. And then I am going to use a website called Craft of Exile to show you guys how to craft this. Now, Craft of Exile is not fully updated to support the new kinetic ones, so it will not take into account this mod. So it will still roll custom mods when I do it here, but in-game it will not roll custom modifiers, and this will be a lot easier to roll. However, the goal here is you're just gonna use Essence of Woe. I recommend using Screaming. They are cheapest, but you can also use Shrieking if you can afford to do so. And then you're just gonna click this essence until you get anything that looks until you get any amount of flat damage. Basically, as long as you get a tier 3 flat elemental damage, like this one, or this one, or if it's lightning, it can be cold, lightning, or fire. Lightning is best, cold is the second best one, and fire is the worst one. You do not need 2 rolls. The goal here is just to get any tier 3, or tier 2, or tier 1. Tier 3 or better is basically what you're aiming for. If you get 2 rolls, you can add those together, see if it is roughly the same as a tier 2 roll. The goal here is just to get as much added flat as you can get without breaking the bank. And then you won't have an open suffix. And in this case, there's an open suffix. All you gotta do is just craft attack speed. And you're done. That's your wand. Okay. Next up, I have Papa Building open here. And I just wanted to mention I've added a new loadout, which is level 95. This is a bit more similar to my current setup. However, I will have an export of my current character as it is right now in a separate Papa Building that you can look at if you want to see all my gear that I currently have. Anyway, the main idea is here's the wand that I kind of showed you how to craft, and the rest is pretty standard. It should be pretty similar to last time. It's quite similar to my current gear. We're using Azir's Promise. It kind of helps with our Chaos Rest, as well as gives us a bit of damage. I decided to craft movement speed with Onslaught on Kill, so that I don't have to run a Silver Flask anymore. Some other things I want to mention is that I have dropped the nodes up here, and I've taken away these nodes. Instead, I'm taking Depth Perception and the Accuracy Mastery. Gain accuracy rating equal to your intelligence. Basically solves all our accuracy problems for the time being, so you're going to be using that. Now, back in game, the next thing I want to talk about is the grafts. So I mentioned last time the 2 grafts that I'm using. The main difference this time is you want to try and get these as high level as possible. I would recommend try and aim for level 30 at the very least. And then the mod here that I actually want to talk about is the increased spell damage on the left there. These grafts can roll some pretty strong modifiers that will help you get a bit more damage, and in this case, on the Edge craft, I recommend getting spell damage. You can also get added lightning. Same thing for the Zoff craft, you can get attack damage, but you can also get added fire damage. So try and find one with either of those 2 mods would be ideal. Besides that, some other things I've done is I have exposure on my gloves, as well as gain 1 range on attack hit. Ideally, I wanted to hit suppress on instead of exposure. I just happened to get this, but eventually I will try and hit suppress here instead. The rage and hit is a lot of damage. It's a very good mod to get. It's pretty much free, 30 rage. On the robe, you want to get physical damage taken from hits, taken as basically anything here. Ideally fire, cold, or lightning. This will help a lot with not dying to fist damage. And then for the Searing Exile modifier, I recommend getting the buff effect from your golems. On the boots, there's not really anything in particular other than Searing Exile can get you action speed and or movement speed. Both of those are fine. On the helmet, you want to get physical damage from hits taken as lightning by using Eldritch Icors. So that would be these Icors and these Embers. Use new gear. Currently, I'm also anointing Intuition to give myself some extra suppress. As well as I upgrade my amulet to one that has a lot of crit multi and chaos res, and then there's crafts and flat. Lastly, I decided to use my extra gem socket that I got from this unset ring to fit in. Let me see where I have it. There we go. Frost Shield. The buff that you can place, it will drain a little bit of energy shield to buff it up, but it's able to take a bunch of damage for you, so it's just a little bit of extra damage mitigation. It can help you stay alive a bit more easily whenever you are, if you're trying to face tank anything. Frost Shield can be very useful to have, so. But it is an extra button, so keep that in mind. That's pretty much everything I wanted to go over. Once again, I will be streaming most of the time, and you can always come into the chat, ask questions, or leave a comment below if you need any help or have any questions. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!